in order to create our own training plan, we need to be conscious of two things. The first is you need to be conscious of your schedule. Let's say, for example, if you're a busy professional and you don't necessarily have time, you could probably split your workouts or your sessions into three groups, sorry, push, pull, legs. For the sake of this video, I'm going to use a push, pull, leg split as an example of how to kind of structure your training plan. So we've already established our results, right? We know our results from our testing. The second thing that you need to be conscious of is how sustainable it is long-term, right? Can you actually maintain this style of training for a longer period? You don't want to be switching through styles of training and trying to find out which one works for you. You want to stick to one and be consistent with it, right? So you need to be conscious of time, and you also need to be able to stick to it for a long period of time. So then you'll be able to get the best results. The reason why I wanted to pick the PPL style, push, pull, leg split, is because it fits very well into how we structured our test, right? So we structured it as a pull, push, leg, right? So this way, we can then structure our training exactly how we structured our test. I also use this method. The reason why is because this allows me to split my workouts into 3 phases, or I'd say 2 phases. And then when I'm busy, I don't necessarily spend too much time in the gym. When I do have time and I do have some free time, I usually tend to spend an hour and 30 minutes to 2 hours in the gym, right, training. But sometimes I don't necessarily have time. So what I do is I usually spend about 45 minutes to an hour in the gym. You're going to split your workout into 2 phases, or for calisthenics individuals, 3 phases, right? The first phase is strength phase, and this is 80%. This is 80% of your 1 RM, right? And this is for everything. This is for pull, push, and legs, right? That's the first phase. So this could be, let's say, for example, if you want to focus on chest, right? You could do bench press, and you can focus on 80% of your 1 rep max, which you've gotten from the test that you've done. The next phase, it would be the endurance phase, and that's 60 to 80%. The strength phase is 80 to 90%, but I usually like to stick to 80. So then I can then use progressive overload to increase the weight. So let's say I increase it by 1.25 kg or 2.5 kg, and then just keep going up until my next testing phase. So this way, every single week, I'm always measuring my strength, right? So you're testing your strength throughout the week when you're training, and then you test your 1 rep max again after you finish your training block. It's impossible not to grow if you use the system. It's impossible not to build muscle using the system. And then 60%, or I'll say 60 to 70%, right? 60 to 70% of 1 RM. And that's for the endurance part. This style of training works for everyone, right? This is for the general public. So if you want to learn calisthenic skills, then this is slightly different because you focus on skill first. We'll put Jan here. Let's say this is for general, and this is for Cali. This is for calisthenics, right? We'll do pull, push, and then leg. It'll be different, but it's still similar in some sense. But the reason why it's different is because the first phase of all of this is you're working on skill. That's the first phase. Doing the skill work at the end of your workout is just not going to make any sense because you're already tired. You've already used all your energy, and you're not going to be performing at your best whatsoever. So we should always try to do the skill work at the start, or progressions if you're learning the skill, right? You should always try to do this at the start. And then obviously, once you get good at the skill, you learn the skill, then it becomes a normal thing for you. Let's say, for example, for me, what I do is handstand push-ups at the start, or weighted handstand push-up at the start of my workout, which is the 80% of my 1 rep max, right? And then, continue on with other workouts that I want to improve in terms of physique, in terms of body and whatnot, right? So for calisthenics athletes and enthusiasts, the skill work is the first thing that you focus on at the start of your training. And then it goes strength, which is 80%, again, 1 rep max, 1 RM. And then endurance, which is 60 to 70%. And that's of your 1 rep max. This method, this style of structuring your training plan, you'll always be able to add progressive overload, because every single time that you're training, you're always increasing your strength training by 1.5, right? The weight that you're using to train your 80%, you're always increasing it by 1.25 or 2.5 kg, right? This way, every single week, you're progressing. Every single week, you're advancing. This style of training, when you structure it properly, it works wonders, right? This is how you grow. This is how you build muscle. The whole goal is to structure it in a way that we're always improving. So once we finish a training block and we test ourselves again, we can measure and see how much we're improving. And that's when you record again, right? That's when record everything again. And then after, what you can do is you can compare your test results from the first phase that you did to the second phase, and then so on and so forth. I want you to record all your workout, all your tests, I should say, because every single time it measures and shows you if you're actually improving, if you're actually making progress. And if you're not, then you know what the issue is. Then you can see where the problem lies. So the best way to compare is to record yourself, right? This is how you can also keep yourself accountable and make sure that you are making progress. And if you're not, then you know where the problem lies and you can tackle it. So with this style, you can create your own training plan. But this is where it gets fun, right? Because you can get as creative as possible. The reason why I like this style of training is because I get the best of both worlds. I can train skill, train calisthenics, train for bodybuilding, and also train for performance in terms of sport, right? So for example, now I'm getting into jiu-jitsu. So my training style, this helps me to structure everything into it. So this method can work for anyone. Now you know how to create your own training style, right? But if you need help in terms of creating your own method of training and creating your own style, and you don't necessarily want to do this yourself and you want it to be done for you, then I'll leave a link below where you can book a call with me or my team, and then we will help you to create your own engine and create your own performance booster, create your own GPS, and also create your own fuel, right? But that being said, this is the engine. This is how you create your own training plan, and this is the TMAN method.